Something that I want to talk about that I just realized lately that I feel like other people might relate to is that God has like kept me humble my whole entire life in a life where I could have been very materialistic, you know what I mean? Um I grew up with a dad who has a whole lot of money, and I grew up in like a good neighborhood and all that stuff, and I never got like the like spoiled kid type of treatment from my parents, and I was actually like just very neglected by my parents, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I still struggle with this where like I don't always have like, it's like a struggle to like have my basic needs, even though my dad is someone that has so much money, but he's actually just very greedy, and so he never wants to spend his money. He always is just someone that wants to hoard his money and keep it close to him and keep it to his chest. But I want to talk about this because there's a reason why God allowed my parents to be sort of neglectful, which it sounds sad to say out loud, but like I truly am sort of grateful for this because it keeps me so humble and so grateful for the things that I do have. Because even though I was raised with a parent with a whole lot of money, and I was raised within a culture, specifically like Greek culture, because I'm 50% Greek, I feel like so many of my own extended family, so many of my dad's family friends, they got huge houses, they got really nice cars, they got a whole lot of money, and their kids are spoiled rotten. And like, I truly, as someone who's just like humbly walking with Jesus and like has always struggled to have enough food, enough money, have my basic needs met, like I cannot even be around, you know, the that family and those family friends that like who are so materialistic, who are just spoiled rotten. Like I said, it is a completely different mindset, completely different lifestyle, and I actually find myself being grateful that, which sounds crazy, like why would I ever thank God that I have been neglected in my life and not having the basic things that I needed? Like that's so sad. No kid wants them for themselves, especially growing up. I was very sad and confused why like I was not taken care of the way I needed to be taken care of. But I find myself being so grateful that God allowed that family dynamic, because it just really makes me like humble myself. It really has made me like so much less materialistic. And this is a recent thing because, you know, not like being deprived of like the things that I needed growing up, it made me go out into the world at a young age on my own. At 16, I went to college to get away from my family because the dynamic was really dysfunctional. And I ended up, chasing for 3 years. I was chasing money. I was even selling my own body because money was, my God, money was of that much worth to me. And I thought money was the thing that I needed that was going to end up making my life stable, making my life secure, making sure that I always had the resources that and the basic needs that I needed, you know what I mean? And so I thought money was going to be the solution to all my problems, and I just fast forward ended up getting really 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 drained by selling my body and things like that. It was just horrible effects on my mental health, my physical health, and my spirit, all that stuff. I found Jesus in the process. I prayed to him one day at my lowest, and he made himself known to me, and he really like just pulled me out of that pit that I dug myself into. You know what I mean? And now I'm on the other side of it, and I'm just over here thanking God that he like allowed everything that ever happened in my life, because I've been through so much struggle and so much suffering within my life ever since I was born, you guys. Like, I've always had very deep hurt and very deep struggle, and I can remember being like depressed since I was like a very young kid because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why it was going on. But now I understand, and I'm very grateful for everything I've ever been through, even the worst struggles. Like, it was really my lowest points where I felt God closest to me, if you know what I mean. Like, the worst struggles you go through can actually be the best things to ever happen to you because it brings you closer to God, and it makes you realize that you can depend on Him, that you need Him, and that He's always going to be there for you and He's never going to leave you, even for a second. And at your lowest, you realize like a lot of people around you who you thought were there for you and who you thought were cool, who you thought were your friends, who you thought were good family members, like they're not there for you at your lowest. And I've dealt with this so much, and I've always just, before I knew God, it was like, you know, I'm always there for me. Like, no one ever is there for me, but I'm always there for me. And now it's a different story because I realize I can't rely on only my own strength to get me through my hardest times. It's like my strength has, I've surpassed my own strength a very long time ago. Now it's just all God's strength. You know what I mean? I lean on Him for strength every single time that I need it throughout every day of my life. You know what I mean? And along with that, it's like, yeah, maybe like at my lowest, family and friends weren't there for me, but you know who was? God was, guys. God never leaves us. He's always there for us. And I feel like our lowest moments really show us that, like I said, He will never leave us. He's there for us every single second, just to be like a helping hand, just to be a shoulder that we can cry on, to be the one that pulls us out of our own destruction and out of our own pain and everything like that. But I just had to remind someone of this because I feel like the things that we see as weaknesses, like I've tried to reframe it for myself because it can be actually a strength when it comes to your relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? And it can be a strength that like for me, not having the things that I needed growing up and like still that being a struggle today, it allows me to connect with people like who are also struggling with the same thing, and to not have an ego, to not have my chin up to other people, because I feel like that comes with, if you were raised super spoiled, like you just think you're better than everyone. You have your chin up and you walk around like that, like, like this. And I've never been that type of person ever. And I actually used to like really fantasize about being a super spoiled like teenager because I had the opposite. And so in my head, I would fantasize about being that. And I'm grateful I never was that, because I am so happy that God used that in order to create humility in me and to remind me that we're all God's children and nobody is above the other. We are all children of God and we're all created equal and created in His image. So, like I said, no one is better than anyone. We're all one. We're all God's children. We're all so special to Him. And yeah, I just wanted to remind someone of this because I feel like we can look at things in terms of the world and be like, why do I have this weakness? Like, it sucks. It makes me so different from other people. And sometimes you just have to look at it as like, God wrote out our story from before we were born. Like, He knew everything that was ever going to happen in our life, everything that we do, everything that He does in our life in His own will. And it's all for a reason. Like, every single trait that you have, maybe you think it's a flaw, but in God's eyes, you're absolutely perfect. And so that changed my mentality of hating experiences that I've had that actually shaped me into the woman of God that I am today. and allowed me to get closer to him. You know what I mean? So if you look at it from that framework of, no, you're actually perfect. God actually created you perfect in his own image. Your entire life is perfect in his own image. Even the things that you struggle with. Like sometimes he allows us to go through really hard struggles because it makes us realize we need to depend on him. It makes us realize we need him, period. Because we all need God. There's not a single person that can really do everything in their own strength. You know what I mean? We just all need our God, you guys. But I love you guys so much, and Jesus loves you even more. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.